What's going on, guys? I am Fabian Solis, the host of the Regular Show podcast. And as you guys can see, I'm no longer recording in my car, right? Got a studio now, got everything set up. I know I've been keeping you guys waiting for, some time for sure. So I'm very excited to finally launch it, finally send out the first episode, and things like that. With that being said, I really want to take the time to thank people on TikTok that supported me throughout these years, right? Like, you guys have really showed me so much love and support. And, I've had leaders reach out to me, hey man, if you need help with this and that, like it went beyond just like, hey, I like your video. It was so much more than that. You guys actually helped me with a lot of stuff. And you guys were really a big reasoning why I wanted to start a podcast. You guys gave me the confidence to do that, where I feel like I could do a pretty good transitioning into the podcast world. So I appreciate you guys for that for sure. But also the GWAT Goons podcast. I really had a good time, doing that podcast, just BSing, telling stories, telling my story. So I appreciate, him for having me on and the host over there. With that being said, as you guys know, if you follow me on TikTok, you know that the first episode I wanted to do for the show was going to be me, where it all started, right? Like we're doing now, just having a conversation for really one reason. I wanted to show you guys who I was, right? And not just the mustache army guy, not just the cool specialist, not the guy in the video, none of that. I feel like, especially when I was in the military, work really just saw me as, the TikTok guy. They didn't see me for who I was or the resume that I had or the experience or the credentials or anything like that. They just saw me as a social media influencer or whatever you want to call it, right? But I'm excited to show you guys who I actually am on a day to day. I'm just a normal dude, hence the regular show, right? Not just a unit that I deployed with task force regulars, but also I'm just a regular guy. And the dudes that I'm gonna have on here are just regular dudes. That's why I named it what it is, right? So let's just jump into it, man. Like I said, I want to talk about from beginning to end, from signing the contract to where I'm at now as a civilian, right? So let's just go get into it. As you guys can see, I'm from the great state of Texas, right? Born and raised in Dallas, Texas, kind of a nomad, sort of, kind of moved around a lot as a kid from, Dallas, Mesquite, Texas to Balch Springs to Wiley, back to Mesquite. And yeah, man, it was a lot of moving, but there was something always going on. So, it was pretty exciting. And as a kid growing up, I always wanted to be in the military. I always wanted to be those high speed units that are getting into gunfights. Like that stuff looked cool to me, right? Was always playing war or, something along those lines. So when high school came around, I already knew I was going to join. That was my dream job. My parents knew, my whole family knew, I wanted to join the military, and I did, right? Signed that contract. 11 Bravo infantryman. August 13th of 2018, I ended up shipping out. But rewind before that, a story that I've never told, I don't think really anybody, let alone on camera. But I want to say about a month before I shipped off, I already signed the contract. I was out with a friend and we kind of sort of almost got arrested. But 18, right? I looked a lot older than what I was. And I had a bright idea. Hey, man, let's just go buy beer and let's hang out at my house, this and that. So we did, ended up buying beer, no ID. Like I said, I looked older than what I was. And what we would do is we would park on the side of the house and we'd just sit there and drink and eat and stuff like that. Typical kid stuff. You don't want your parents to hear whatever, right? And I remember all of a sudden we're sitting there drinking, eating, watching. We got YouTube going up on our phones, and a spotlight just lights up our freaking the car that we're in. And I thought in my head, I'm like, dude, it's over. My career ended before it even started. And cop comes up, hey, what are you guys doing? And my boy that was sitting next to me was like super starstruck, didn't know what to say. So I had to take over the conversation and was like, oh, we're just sitting here eating. You know, we got our phones. We're just watching YouTube, whatever, hanging out. And he goes, you guys been drinking tonight? No, of course not. No, no, no. Well, he shines like his flashlight in back of the car. And obviously, there's a case of Corona there. Takes both our driver's licenses and basically came back, told us, hey, man, I get it. You guys are going to do this, but you can't be doing that. He took the beer. He made a deal with us. He goes, look, man, I'm going to take this beer. I'm going to dump it out. You guys are going to go back in the house. And if I see you guys come back out, you're going to get arrested for DUI. Cool. Take that deal, dude. I'll take that deal all day. And yeah, man, that was a funny story that I still talk about to this day with me and my boy that I was with that night. But yeah, man, now come the shipping date. I'm sure, like you guys all know in the military, you spend the night in the hotel, you get up super early, you're with the roommate, you're talking to him, where he's from, what job did he pick, and stuff like that. Normal MEPS shipping date experience, give you the packet with your name on it, tell you not to open it. And now it's time to fly to Atlanta, right? Famous staying in the Atlanta airport to us that anybody that has been to Benning knows it's a clock tower. So we got those instructions. Hey, link up at the clock tower. Did drill sergeants there? We got our own room to stay in. They start calling off names and stuff like that. And super smooth experience. Nothing crazy. Took that. I don't remember how long it was, but it was long enough for me to fall asleep for a bit from the Atlanta airport to 30th AG over there at Benning. And we get to 30th AG, I think like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And as you guys know, like you're not sleeping for the first 24 hours that you get there. And that's where it I guess the shock of something different started to come into play. And, because most kids, they're not staying up for 24 hours. They're not doing the BS games, growing up. They're just not, right? And yeah, man, did that. I remember the first day was like, what the fuck? Why are we sitting here? You use that common sense factor. Why am I waiting in these lines for hours and hours at a time? Why are we just sitting here? And it was pretty dumb, not gonna lie. If you've been a 30th AG, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Pretty dumb experience, but nothing crazy, man. I remember a famous story that I think most infantrymen or anybody that went through that place knows about is peanut butter bravo. And I'm about to explain what peanut butter bravo is. So a first sergeant came up to us and told us a story about two guys that were lovers essentially in the barracks, and they decided to go in the shower, and they don't have certain things that you would need to make certain things work. So what did they use? They used peanut butter. And since that day, they have been known as peanut butter bravo. And it's so funny because I think in the military, right, it was always like the last class that happened to, right? So, oh, that was the last class that came through. Oh, or like guys in Ranger School, or oh, hey, our last class was the hardest one, or whatever. So that kept going on and on. And even years later, when I got new guys, when I'm already already in the military, already a couple years in, guys were still coming out talking about peanut butter bravo. Oh, before us, peanut butter bravo. But yeah, it was funny, man. 30th AG was a shitty experience, man. I did not like it. I think everybody was waiting to go to basic training to at least get out of this stagnant, sitting around all day, you know, BS that was going on. And obviously they're messing with you and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I went to, did all that, processed in, went to Alpha 219, that battalion over there for basic training. Super cool experience, nothing crazy. For me, I was excited, man. I was really excited to finally get the experience of what it's like to go through infantryman OSUT. And I got that, man. Those drill sergeants were ruthless, man. They did not give a fuck at all. We constantly got messed with, especially my platoon that I was in, Force Platoon. We were pretty much the fuck up platoon. And man, those guys, man, that I was with in that cycle, man, a lot of them I still talk to this day. We had some amazing experiences. We made the best out of what we could, and crazy stories there, man. I don't know because I was there, but there is a story of a guy by the name of Stapleton. And for any of the guys that were in my cycle that are watching this, you know exactly where I'm about to go with this. So Stapleton was our platoon piece of shit. Right. Didn't Was always late, was always getting us fucked up, you know, whatever it may be. So what did like the platoon guys or the PGs, yeah, platoon guys, PGs do to him when he was fucking up? And for those of you that don't know, platoon guide is like, I guess you could say like platoon leader or something like that. Drill sergeant picks him out to be the PG, and they would always put him on like double fire guard, or they would give him the shittiest times on that. All the details that popped up, all the shitty details they would put him on. Well, around this time that this was happening, we actually got our phones. Not the right way, not the correct way. Long story short, some guys broke into the like office lockbox that they had. All our phones were in there. So my platoon had our phones for like a month, man. I had my phone like damn near 100%, 95% of the platoon had their phones. I remember like being in the bathroom watching the Conor McGregor versus Habib Nurmagomedov fight, ordered it on my phone, texting my family, texting friends, you know, all that good stuff. And one night he decided he had enough and he had something to use against us now. So what did he do? He went down one night to CQ, told the drill sergeants what happened. We get woken up like at 02 in the morning. Drill sergeant comes in, goes to fucking get our phones and everything, and took away our family day, man. Crazy story about that. I got mine taken away. But it was a Sunday. One Sunday, I came from doing laundry, ran upstairs, and I saw all the guys on their phone calling their parents. So what did I do? I caught that, ran back downstairs, waited 10 minutes, shot back up, and just blended in. Acted like I called my family too. I didn't. That's how I got family day. But yeah, man, it was a fun experience. They fucked with Stapleton hard, cutting bootlaces, jumped them a couple times. They had to move them platoons. They jumped them again in that platoon. Like it was crazy, man. That dude was hated, but you know, of course you're going to be hated when you, especially in like a basic training mindset. That like brotherhood and trust thing goes deep, man. Like you just screwed over the entire platoon. I mean, there was times where I fucked up, not something like that, or maybe I was late or something and the platoon got scuffed up. But for the most part, everybody does it, but nothing like that, like how he did. But yeah, man, basic training was a cool experience. Nothing crazy, typical OSUT. I had the like 16-week basic training OSUT thing, not the 22-week. Yeah, you guys can keep that shit because fuck that. But Yeah, man, cool. Got my orders to Fort Bliss, and Fort Bliss for me, being from Texas, I would have rather went somewhere else. A lot of guys were going 10th Mountain, Third ID, out of Georgia over there in Stewart. Obviously, you got your airborne contracts, you got your RASP contracts, stuff like that. So I was kind of whatever, right? I wanted something in the 18th Airborne Corps for sure, but yeah, it was what it was. And cool thing about that too is there was only like 15 guys in my basic training class that went to Bliss. So we were all cool with each other, super tight. And even when we got to Bliss, obviously we're the only people that we know is each other. So it was always hanging out and stuff like that. For the most part, most of us kind of went to the same battalion. So that was cool. Yeah, man. So got to the unit, and my first experience was leadership. So I got there on a Friday night, got my barracks room Saturday morning. Sunday morning was my first experience with my platoon sergeant. Staff Sergeant Lozano. Lozano, dude, if you're watching this, love you, dude. You were great, except for this first time that I met you, and he's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm asleep Sunday morning in my barracks, and like 7 in the morning, somebody's banging on the door, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck is this? Get up, open the door. He walks in, didn't invite him in, but he walks in and was like, "Oh, so we just don't call IDs for NCOs anymore?" And one, I'm thinking like, who is this guy? Two, I didn't know that was really a thing, right? I thought, okay, well, this is my room and this and that, but that is a thing. When an NCO comes in your barracks room, especially like in a, I guess, somewhat professional manner anyway, right? You call at ease, whatever. It's a thing. He comes in, says that, and I'm just like all confused. And he goes, fucking drop, asshole, this and that. Like, I'm your platoon sergeant, this and that. Drop down, fucking cranking out push ups, does a full on room inspection. Once he gets done, he goes, when I fucking walk in here next time, you will call at ease. Roger that. He leaves, and I see him the next morning, obviously. Monday morning, my first day of actually being in the Army. And as you would expect, a young new infantryman coming to a unit that just got back from Iraq and Kuwait, it's going to be fun. It's going to be unique. It's going to be chaotic, and that's what it was, man. We had some Bucky fives that were really, put in the infantryman culture. I don't want to say like, fucking with us or hazing us, because that's not what it is, man. With a job like that, it's just part of the culture. It's a thing. It's a tradition. As long as you don't take it too far, that's what happens. So we were constantly, man, the new guys just getting questioned, tested, classes, regulations. They would put us in one big formation, all the new guys, and just they were like, hey, what is the max effective range of the M4? Who's the sergeant major of the Army? Who's the battalion sergeant major? What's the difference between a command sergeant major and a sergeant major? All that good stuff. And yeah, constantly getting fucked down for sure. Fuck games. Again, all part of the culture. And it didn't stop there, man. Like during the day, for the most part, all military bases, you have the COF, company, battalion, and then you have the barracks right next door. So 1,700 hits. Hey, go to your sprint to your barracks room, and we're going to do a room inspection. And you would think guys would learn, but we had some fucking dirty ass dudes over there. But even that, oh, deficiency. And it would be like the smallest shit, man, that they would find. And then you're getting smoked in your own barracks room. Like it did not stop. But again, part of the culture, man. If anything, it actually got me closer to the guys that I got to the unit with from my basic training or other basic training battalions, right? We're building each other up, holding each other accountable, testing each other, making sure we're good to go for, when we show up to work the next day, we're not all, dicked up or anything. But yeah, man, it was cool. We got word that we were going to Europe, Poland and Lithuania specifically. So that was exciting. I was like, cool, this is going to be my first time overseas. It's Europe, like, hell yeah. We do the whole train up, right, like you would NTC, the live fires, platoon live fires, the brigade level exercises. Did all that, did some good training, and I just want to give a shout out 137 2nd Platoon when I was there. That platoon right there was the best platoon that I've ever had in my entire Army experience. From top to bottom, for the most part, from platoon sergeant down to squad leader, 95% of the squad leaders had combat experience or were deployed or something like that. Team leaders, there was a few that deployed. Just a ruthless, man. Just so smart, amazing leaders, and the mesh that those guys had, and that their ability to work so well with each other, I have never seen before. Like, that was the A team platoon there, man. It was, I miss that platoon every day. Even when I got to Campbell and got to other platoons, I would try to kind of, copy what we did there, to where I was at was Campbell. But yeah, man, it was great. I still talk to a lot of those guys. Great ass platoon, great experience. But yeah, now it's time to go to Europe, and I went. I forget when I went. I want to say like February, late February. I was on ground in Poland, and if you remember what was creeping up around this time into March, especially of 2020, COVID. So that's what happened. We get there, we had EIB, we had gunnery set up, like our whole schedule ready to go. And I remember CO called a meeting. By this time, we knew COVID was affecting some things, but we just didn't know the magnitude of it essentially shutting the world down. And that's what it did. He pulled us out, company meeting, and he goes, "Hey, man, the EURCOM commander just is in quarantine for COVID. Like, all operations have ceased. EIB, like all the gunners we had planned are, off the table. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't know if we're going to stay here or if we're going to go back to the States." Cool. Whatever, that experience was a trip, because where I was at in Poland was in the middle of nowhere, in like the middle of this super small town. So we really didn't know like what level it got to. All we knew is we're social distancing. We really don't see people. So it's like, okay, like internally, we're doing all this. This is weird, whatever. Then we get the word, hey, we're gonna go back to the States, and that's what we did. Planning birds to come back to the state, but before that, we had gotten word that my brigade was going to send two different battalions to Kuwait. And if you know anything about Kuwait, like, I'm sure you guys have seen the memes, you've seen, all the stuff that they say about Kuwait. I knew it was a launching pad for other sitcom areas, right? So Afghanistan was still a thing, Syria, Iraq, stuff like that. So I knew if I wanted to go to a combat zone, I better go. I better take this, because there could be a follow on mission or something like that. And I volunteered to go to Kuwait, and we get back to the States and kind of preparing, like, hey, just so you guys know, when we go back to work, you guys are going to be immediately moving to 1/6 Infantry, the infantry battalion inside of 2nd Brigade, 1st Armored. Cool, whatever. And dude, that plane trip was a ride. Was a trip, rather. Coming back, flying over El Paso, And for those of you that don't know, El Paso's a pretty large city. People think El Paso's this like super small Western Texas town. It's not. It's actually a very massive city. And flying over, there was not one car in sight, like nothing at all. We land all masked up, social distancing into like the theater thing that we go into, get to our barracks room, and my boy that was there was like, "Yeah, dude, the entire world is shut down." And he was like showing me videos and stuff like that. And that was a weird time, man. I remember I don't even really think the army knew what they were gonna do yet because I didn't go to work for like I believe like almost 2 months. So I was just constantly in the barracks room doing Zoom calls with leadership. They're teaching classes or getting accountability. We're having inspections. Leaders come through to make sure that we're actually in our room quarantining. Obviously, you're going to bend the rules sometimes, and that's exactly what I did. Had a good friend live off post, thankfully, because the MPs were actually cracking down on social gatherings for like the on post housing. So I would always go to his place with a couple buddies in the platoon, hang out, drink, spend the night. Good dude, man. Amazing, amazing guy, amazing leader. That was a fun experience to kind of, you know, sit back for a while. But yeah, now we're back to work. Time to go to 1/6 Infantry. And I remember kind of being nervous because I really didn't like, in my mind, I was like, oh, this is the infantry battalion. This is going to be different. Obviously, my mindset with hoping where I would go was 101 and 10th Mountain. Obviously, when you're in basic training, they build that up, but everybody shit on Bliss. But I'm like, okay, this is the only infantry battalion. Like, it's going to be like that, what I expected to come to. And it was, man. Went there, had some awesome leaders. Like, you could tell there was a very big difference between a armored regiment with 137 and then a 1/6 infantry battalion. And thankfully for me, one of the squad leaders, or actually my squad leader at the time we went to Europe, went over with me. He was going to go on that deployment too, and he just so happened to end up my squad leader again. Staff Sergeant Prechtel, Adam Prechtel, I know he's watching. And just to kind of brag on Prechtel a little bit, the best leader, and he has a lot to do with my army story and my career. One of the fucking best leader that I've ever met, like ever, dude. Not just leading as an infantryman, but also having that human factor. Having that factor of, hey, I want to see you do better, or hey, I'm going to help you in this situation. I'm going to guide you in this situation, whether it's at work or your personal life. And that dude means so much to me, man. Awesome guy, awesome family. I actually went to go visit him 2 years ago. I flew down to where he lives over there. I spent Christmas and New Year's Eve with him and his family. Awesome dude, man. I can't wait to have him on the show. We're talking about it. We just need to find that scheduling. But yeah, man, awesome guy. So I was excited about having him in my corner as well. It kind of set my nerves a little bit at ease, and you see familiar faces in the battalion that you're new to and all that. But with deployment coming up, what is there always, right? Another training cycle. So we jump into another training cycle. And I remember that, dude. That was one of the hottest times that I've ever been in. That squad live fire that we did for that, we did it in July, the hottest week in El Paso, and fucking man, it was miserable. Guys were heat catting, like all our uniforms are just white from the salt coming out and sweating. It got real toasty over there when we were doing that. But yeah, man, great live fire, great experience. I want to say we did that in July. August, we were just packing, ready to go. Typical shit, SRP, A and B bags, Connexes, all that good stuff. And I want to say September 1st. That's when I was on ground in Kuwait already. And man, let me tell you what, I think we landed like at midnight, somewhere in the nighttime. When I got off that plane and I took that first step, like onto those stairs, dude, it was like almost 90 degrees. And I was like, dude, there's no fucking way. I can only imagine what it's like during the day. And that's to no surprise. Like every day was like 120 and up. It was fucking hot as fuck. And it's windy over there. So it makes it feel like there's this blow dryer that's just all over your body. But yeah, Kuwait, man, honestly, people shit on Kuwait. Right, you get the jokes, it's not a deployment, whatever. That's a whole nother conversation. It's boring, whatever. Typical things. But honestly, I had a great time in Kuwait. It wasn't bad. It's not bad at all. We got Subway, we got Desert Diamond. If you've ever been to Camp Beer in Kuwait, you know exactly what Desert Diamond is, man. That beef and broccoli, dude, that's A1. But yeah, man, they had a whole bunch of shit. A Baskin Robbins, they had a pizza place over there, they had Taco Bell, like a whole bunch of stuff. Waffle Sunday, man. Waffle Sunday in the mornings, absolutely amazing. I was like one of the only guys that would wake up Sunday morning, our off day, because usually in Kuwait, at least how we ran it, you have one day you're off, right? And that was Sunday. Man, those strawberries on those waffles that they make you with whipped cream, dude, I was always going at it. Midnight chow was still a thing. Like the DFAC is probably the best part of Kuwait. And that's honestly where the first time I ever had crab legs was Camp Buring, Kuwait. So had a good time there, man. Nothing crazy. Did a whole nother training event at this time. We had some guys go to Syria. They split off, and my company's kind of just all right, kind of waiting to see what we're gonna do, if we're gonna go support, if we're gonna go where we're going, and stuff like that. Long story short, we get told we're taking Saudi Arabia, which I didn't know. We I didn't even know the U.S. deployed there until I saw that op board, things like that. So I was excited about it. New country, obviously, that I've never been to. So yeah, we got told our missions, what we were going to be doing. Each location had their own different mission. I lucked out. Majority of the time, I was at a Navy base over there in Saudi Arabia. That was cool. Um, yeah, man, nothing crazy. I know some bases got IDF or drone strikes. That all that fun stuff. Saudi Arabia, I guess, is at war with the Houthi rebels. I mean, who's not at fucking war with those guys? But yeah, man, nothing crazy. Spent, I believe, a few months there, a couple months, whatever it was, and that was it. Nothing crazy. Cool experience. Actually, a funny story, and about Saudi Arabia is you never know who you're going to run into. And I remember one night we went out to go get food or something. We go in like this really, so imagine Iraq, right? How you see Iraq is. That's what it looked like in this city, Khafji. It's on the eastern side of Saudi Arabia. They got like this really nice dessert shop to where we're about to go grab food and then book it back to the base. We walk in, and a white guy is like, "Hey, what's up, guys? Good to see you." Perfect English, obviously an American. And we just look at him like, "What the fuck are you doing here, dude?" He's, "Oh man, like this is my shop. I'm from Louisiana. My dad was in the Navy, and I just decided to stay." Which I don't know how that happens, but it happened. So we're just like bullshitting, like, "What the fuck, man?" He goes, "Yeah, man, I haven't seen like Americans in forever. You guys are the first one." So it was pretty cool to run into some dude from Louisiana in the middle of Saudi Arabia. That was pretty funny. He hooked us up with some, whatever they had there, chocolate or whatever. So, yeah, man, Saudi Arabia is done. We get back to Kuwait, and at this time, we got back, I want to say, in May of 21. And if you remember what was going on in the world, Afghanistan, we were just almost done, about to pull out. Hamid Karzai, Airport over there, was the last airport that we needed to withdraw from. So we were still on GRF, Global Reaction Force, and we're kind of hoping to go. Obviously, you guys have seen the footage and how things got over there, and we were kind of hoping to be part of that. A couple different reasons, but mainly, what infantryman wouldn't want to go to Afghanistan? And if you're an infantryman and you're in my corner saying you don't, I kind of question why you're even here, right? So, for the most part, everybody wanted to go. And we didn't get the call. We got back to the States, I want to say June. Yeah, June timeframe. Got back to the States. We're stateside now. Take your leave. We got a month leave after that deployment. And I want to say 2 weeks later, after we had just gotten back, the suicide bomber happens over there at Abbey Gate at H. Kaya, kills those service members, and now we're just kind of. I feel like the entire army was on standby for that. I know I had guys at Campbell, obviously guys at 10th Mountain and the 82nd were all on standby, ready to go reinforce what was happening over there. And if you haven't seen those videos of the H. Kaya Airport and how bad things got, I highly recommend you guys go look at it so you kind of know what I'm talking about. But yeah, things got pretty bad over there for those guys, and we were really hoping to not only go to Afghanistan but get fucking revenge, which probably wasn't going to happen due to the withdrawal and how that's not really the mission anymore. But that's what was all going through our minds. We want to get revenge for our guys that were just murdered over there. So we are, I think it was like 1 week, and we're taking a road trip. Me and a couple guys decided to take a road trip to Roswell, New Mexico, just to go for the weekend, kind of hang out, get out the barracks. And we all get calls on our phone saying, hey, we just got recalled. You guys need to come back to the COF. We're going to Afghanistan. Dude, we were so fucking excited about that. Hell yeah. Let's send it this opportunity to go and shut things out, right? Obviously, new guys and me being so young, that GWAT era passed us. So we finally get our shot, even if it was to close things out there and close that chapter of the GWAT. We were super down for it. Book it back. We're getting our A and B bags ready to go. They're taking volunteers. People are getting voluntoed, all that stuff. So, and just like anything with the military, things change, and that's what happened. I want to say a day or two after we got told we were going to Afghanistan, Frago, change in mission. We are going to build a refugee camp for these Afghans that America was taking. And if you remember, not only America, but Europe, it took a whole bunch of Afghan refugees, right? And way different mission than what we were hoping for. It was very interesting. Nobody really knew what that looked like because we've never done it before, especially to that magnitude of, hey, you're going to get, I don't know how many the U.S. got total, but just alone in my camp that we were at, 22,000 we put through. So, yeah, they let us know that. And then, I want to say a day later after that, we went to Donna Ana Village, National Guard base down there in New Mexico. And if you've ever been, just imagine I don't know how many hard structure buildings there are, but there's a lot. Like these, they're like trailer, like trailers, but fucking massive. And they have like beds in it. It's like a little house. And we got told, hey, in order for this to work, we need to take out all the bunk beds. We're going to put cots in there so we can fit as many people as we can into these hard structure buildings. We need to put guard posts up. We need to, any blind spot that you have or, stuff like that, we need to make it and we need to see how it's going to look. So we're doing all that. And this is where I really knew it was a very high profile political mission. So State Department came in as we're taking these bunks down, ask us what we're doing. We say we're putting in cots, and they said, no, you will not do that. We're not going to make it look like a camp. This is a housing area. Put those bunk beds back up. And by this time, we took dozens of bunk beds apart, frame and everything. So we were kind of pissy that we had to do that, but we did. And I want to say like we did that for 2 weeks, and we really didn't know where this mission was going to go. We didn't know how long we were going to be here. We got told that the Texas Guard was going to come in and take over a mission. So we're kind of just like all confused. After a while, everything is set up, all the guard posts, radios are in there, hard structure buildings are ready to go. And we're kind of just sitting there, and we get told, hey, this is our mission now. These Afghans are going to slowly start trickling in. And they would give us updates, man. They'd be like, hey, the plane just landed somewhere in Europe. The plane's in the States now, somewhere on the East Coast. Hey, they landed at El Paso. They're being held. And then I want to say a day or two later after we got that news, they slowly started to trickle in. And at first, it was like one or two. We'd help them get their own building or wherever, building they were assigned to. And then dozens and dozens. And then that turned into hundreds and then thousands, eventually to 22,000. So imagine this essentially its own city in kind of the middle of nowhere, right? And that's what it was. And at first, it was cool because me personally, the way I felt, I was giving people a second chance, and I was a part of that. And I was so happy for them. And, them, I mean, they were showing me videos of what the Taliban was doing to them over there and, how bad it got over there for them. And I was just really happy that I was lucky enough to be part of a mission like that, especially how high profile that mission was. And yeah, it was cool, man. At first it was cool. I personally saw how the vetting process for Afghanistan wasn't done correctly. So for example, we had the FBI was there, I know that. They had wanted posters of a woman that was an IED maker or something like that. And she was responsible for killing a couple of Marines years prior. And she was somewhere in that camp. We had a lot of people that shouldn't have been in the United States that had ties with ISIS or the Taliban or that weren't even Afghani, right? A lot of people from surrounding countries came to Afghanistan because they knew it was their ticket to come to America. And obviously, the culture difference between us and them. And by this time, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of the Afghanis were showing their true colors of who they were, man. And it was so fucked up because in our mindset, we just got home. Now we're essentially on another mini deployment because we've been here months already. we're here 14, 16 hours a day. You go back and sleep just to come straight back again. So we saw it as a very ungrateful standpoint that a lot of these guys had. And I remember one time, I forget what exactly he said. I know the gifs of it. He was basically talking shit how I was American, and we got face to face, and I was ready to fucking throw down, and you could see it in his eyes, like he fucking hated us, man. Like I don't, I don't know how to describe it, but for those guys that have seen that look of somebody just pure hatred towards you, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and that's what this guy showed me. Man, there was, and before I get into this, I really hope that more people that worked camps like that, or, I'll get people that worked missions like that onto the podcast, because I truly feel like that story needs to be told. Obviously, you have the HKaya Kabul airport story side of things, tons of videos. You can go look it up. Obviously, the bombing was a huge thing. And those guys did, they fucking went through hell essentially. And I'm not trying to take credit from those guys. I give credit where it's due, and those dudes have it all, right? But credit needs to be due to the guys that were in those camps, Europe and stateside, of what was happening in those camps. And there was a lot of things that happened that didn't make the news, that people didn't see. The pedophilia that was going on in there, the drug problem that was going on in there, the child abuse that was going on in there, the obviously the big cultural difference with, people that come from a Sharia law country to the United States. I'm just going to sit here and say it's not compatible with the any Western country. And I remember, man, it got so bad, man. Like, even women, right? There was a woman that was essentially pimping out other girls in the bathroom. You had like peeping Tom situations. We had to put guard posts by the women's prayer building because Afghan men were trying to get in there and trying to look at them. And there was Afghan men trying to get in the women's bathroom. And man, it fucked with me, man. It fucked with me a lot because nothing was really done about that. And that fucking bothers me to this day. And there was a situation where I know I've posted on Instagram, I've talked to her about her on TikTok, but there was a little girl that was about a building or two away from the guard post that I was usually at. And she came up crying one night to the GP. I'm there with one of my boys in the company, and she's like crying, and I'm kind of asking her, hey, what's wrong? Why are you crying? And she like turns around. So if I'm over here, she turns around, and her face, man, was just essentially just scraped off. It looked like somebody grabbed her by the side of the face, put her face in the rocks, and just ran with her. That's what it looked like. And I looked at my boy. I looked at her. I freaking threw that table to the side. I picked her up and I just started sprinting with her to the medic station. Put her on a bed. Got the medical personnel that were there, and we're trying to figure out what happened. Long story short, we got told by their neighbors, essentially other people that were next to them, that the dad had did it. And this girl was probably, I want to say, like 5 years old, somewhere around there. And we also got told that the dad was nicknamed the crazy one. So whenever we brought him in, and what's fucked up about it, man, how little urgency or how little the mom and dad cared, not the fact that their kid's face was half off, essentially. And that pissed me off, and it still pisses me off to this day. Um, I remember they're asking him, what happened, and he was just talking too much, trying to shift the conversation to somewhere different. Like you could clearly tell that something was very, very like weird about the situation. Man, I just common sense says he did it. Unfortunately, we could never prove it, but from that day on, man, I watched that little girl. I was always checking in on her, because you're building a bond with these people too. You we were on that mission for 6 months, and you start to build a bond. You start to know names, their story, how they lived in Afghanistan. You start to show them how we do things in America. So it was yeah, man, that fucked with me for quite a bit, and it still does. And I remember them getting through the process for their citizenship. They're in San Diego now, and I remember like getting their bags, her and her family's bags, putting it on a gator, driving them down to the bus to take them to the airport. And man, I just remember I hugged that little girl, just hugged her, told her, hey, good luck, enjoy America. But I also felt like, dude, I felt fucking extremely sad, man. I did not want her to go with the dad, because we all knew that he did it. He was a really weird guy. But yeah, man, there was some crazy stuff, and this is where I held, my first casualty. Um, I was in a building. I forget what exactly we were giving out, but I think it was like formula and Pampers or stuff like that. Because throughout the camp there, they have like places for clothes or sweaters when it got colder, shoes, whatever they needed, because a lot of these guys brought nothing with them except for the clothes on their back. So we had a whole bunch of stuff, and a woman comes in, and what's so crazy is they have so little urgency for for their kids. And she hands me this baby, and it's wrapped up, which one. It's fucking hot as fuck outside. Why is your kid wrapped up in blankets? And that was a big problem. We told him, like, hey man, you can't be doing this to babies. It's way too hot for that. But hands me this baby. I'm kind of like, she's like, look, look. I'm like, I do it. Obviously, I see it's a baby, and then I see that, oh shit, like this baby's not responsive and it's not breathing. So what I start doing with my two fingers, right, CPR, and in my head I'm thinking like, I mean, I was scared, like I was anxiety, but I was also like so zoned in on it that it went by super fast. I don't know how fast it went by, but it felt like it was going by fast. Like everything was just zoned in on this kid. And I just remember, dude, like just don't fucking die, man. Like this baby better come back by this time. They radioed up to the ambulance people, the medics or whoever was at that station over there. They come rushing in, hand the baby to them, and thankfully they brought the baby back. And I don't really remember what the exact issue was, but yeah, that that was crazy. Um, yeah, man, just a lot of stuff happened in that camp, man. Like I said, and because I saw it firsthand, I really want more people that worked in those camps to come forward with their story and what they saw, because there's still another half of the Afghan withdrawal that a lot of people haven't seen yet. Kind of you know, once we completely got out, that's where it kind of ended, right? That's where the story of Afghanistan stopped, but it didn't stop for another 6 months, even years later, which I'm gonna get into with the 101st. But yeah, man, we get done with that mission, and another part that was fucked up with that was the suicides, man. So many guys were going down, killing themselves. That was tough. We had I want to say just my company alone, Alpha Company. That was a rough time for Alpha Company, man. I want to say it was three suicides in 1 week. After that, that just triggered like a domino effect with the rest of the brigade. Guys were just going down throughout the brigade. And I remember Brown, um, I was a squad leader at the time, and he had some stuff going on, some stuff that obviously I was aware of being his squad leader. And one night we get back to Fort Bliss, end of day, right? We're fixing to leave. And I remember him being like really antsy, being like, when can I go? When can I go? All this and that. And I'm kind of like, hey, dude, like, chill out. Like, let me get word from platoon sergeant that we're good to go and stuff like that. And he keeps asking me, and I finally get the word, and I tell him, hey, Brown, you're good to go, man. He literally sprints to his truck and takes off. And by this time, we're already months into the mission. We're exhausted. We're tired. I'm like, a little weird, whatever. But brush it off, go to my barracks room, rack out. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, I get a call. Hey, Solis, you need to go find Brown. And by this time, I already knew, man. I knew what his intentions were. And the way things played out was he sent a message to one of the guys in the platoon basically saying something along the lines of, hey, tell my mom I love her and stuff like that. And the entire platoon is out trying to find him. And unfortunately, they found him, not, dead. Killed himself up on Trans Mountain. So if you've been to El Paso, that mountain range, there's a road that cuts through it. Parked this truck facing, if I remember correctly, the west side of El Paso, and took his own life, man. And that one sucked, and that one was weird because I was like, man, I just talked to him. Like, if I would have known something was that wrong, I would have done something about it. And that fucked with me a long time, and it still does. And he had such an impact on that platoon that I was in and stuff like that. Dude, I remember like even I took like a 4-day pass a couple of days before he took his own life. And I remember he was like, I still have those messages. He was keeping me in the loop. Hey, Solis, this happened and this and that, and I'm getting this done for you. So when you get back, you go into it smoothly. And I was like, okay. Like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, this dude, like, he's showing some fight. Like, fuck yeah, dude. I fuck with it heavily. And then that happened, man. It was really weird and it was tough. But yeah, man, we get done with that mission. Another training, because you got to think, we've been on mission 6 months. We missed some training, so it's straight into another training cycle. Did all that, typical team, gunnery, whatever. And now it's time for me to PCS to Fort Campbell. And that's what I did. I PCS'd, did whatever I needed to do with my time at Bliss, PCS to Fort Campbell, I believe December of 2023, if I'm correct. Something like that. PCS there. Lo and behold, I get to my unit, no slack 2327 1st Brigade, and they're going to Europe. And I was like, dude, I remember thinking in the back of my head, I do not want to go to Europe. First, I was supposed to go to 2nd Brigade. Then I got switched to 1st because of the deployment coming up. And I had some stuff that I needed to handle back at Bliss. That I knew I would need to fly back for. So I remember talking to the sergeant major. I was like, hey, sergeant major, like, I have this going on. I need to fly back to the States. By the time if you want to send me, by the time you send me, there's only, like, the deployment's almost, over halfway done. Listen, I've already done 2 deployments. I've done the train ups. I've done 2 NTCs, Afghanistan mission. Like, I'm burnt out. I need a break. Can I stay? And he was cool about it. He let me stay. And he goes, look, man, we're not going to deploy you. I get it. You have stuff to do. You're good, man. And that quickly changed. I ended up deploying with the 101st to, at first, Romania. And the cool thing about Romania, man, I knew I was going to have to go to Kosovo because we had another Afghan mission over there, same one that I had did years prior. And it was me and a couple other guys that went to Romania just by ourselves. No company commander, no first aren't, no platoons aren't. Highest guys, the staffs aren't. Super, super lenient. A month to ourselves. So what did we do? We enjoyed it, man. And I want to give a shout out to Ryan Palusko, Staff Sergeant Palusko. Amazing dude, amazing leaders, has helped me with so much stuff, not just professional wise, but also personal wise. Funny story about him. We get to Romania, we land, and I believe it was a CG of MK, the base over there in Romania. There's like a policy of, hey, you will not drink within the first 10 days of being in Romania, something like that. My bad, guys. A little bit of technical difficulties for a second, but yeah, Ryan Palusko, man, went to went to Romania, landed. Obviously, you get to Romania, it's the 10-day no drinking policy, stuff like that. You can't go outside of the base without an NCO. You know, all your typical rules. And told us, you will not go out. You will not drink. You will not do that. All right. You know, we got you. We got you, Sergeant. It's all good. Don't worry about it. And what did we do the first night? We went out and absolutely got trashed. So, for those of you that have been to MK in Romania, you go outside the gate and there's that kind of bar with the patio. Typically, every soldier goes there. But we're like, hey, let's push a little bit past this so we can get out of the view of anybody that's there, right? And we walked, I want to say about, I don't know, like a quarter mile into the town that's over. And we found a bar. Sketchy at first, man, because it was nothing but Romanians in there. And they did not want us there. Like, you could clearly tell, like, by the looks that they were giving us, they fucking hated us. So we're there minding our own business. Everybody's getting shots. And for those of you that don't know, you could have like the night of your life in Romania for like 20, 25 bucks because everything's so cheap over there. So I got hammered, man. We all got hammered by the end of the night. I was singing Neon Moon by Brooks and Dunn with these Romanians. Like, dude, it was sick, man. We actually ended up being really cool with each other and stuff like that. So coming back, because there is a curfew, we got back, we started walking back. We're walking to the gate, and fucking one of the guys is like, oh, do you guys know that I got a warrant? And I just look at him, I'm just like, what? He's like, yeah, you know, I got a warrant, this and that. I'm like, dude, you know, when they scan your cat card, your military ID, your warrant's gonna pop up. Oh no, we should be fine. Dude, they scan his cat card and pops up. So what do? As like the senior guy that's there, I do the right thing. I call Palusko and I'm like, hey, look, we're caught. We went out. Um, we got stopped by the MPs. So he's all right, like fucking I told you not to fucking go out, this and that. And I already knew what was gonna happen when we got back. MPs took us back. The dude ended up being all clear. Took us back to the tent. And yeah, man, we had some corrective action done. Some very a lot of push-ups were done that night. So imagine like getting smoked that night while you're drunk. But yeah, man, Palusko, like I love that guy. I'm glad he's doing bigger and better things now. Glad hopefully everything's going well for you over there, and I can't wait to possibly have you on. I know we've kind of been talking about it, so I think that'd be really cool. So yeah, man. Did our 1 month in Romania. Now it's time to go to Kosovo. Kosovo, same thing. Afghanistan mission. There is, I want to say, there was about 100 Afghans that were still there, and I felt so bad for them, man, because by this time we were already 3 years, just about like 3 years from the withdrawal. So these people have been in there for 3 years waiting to get access to the United States. And one thing that really, there was two things that fucked with me that mission. There was two boys, two brothers. I want to say the oldest one was probably like 11, and then the youngest one was like 7 or something like that. They were there alone. No parents, no family talking to them. You know, he goes, "Hey man, like I'm here by myself. My parents are back in Afghanistan. Like we're all alone, and I don't know what's gonna happen if we don't get accepted." And unfortunately, they weren't accepted, and that fucking broke me, man. Like that that really bothered me, especially with America today. And you have so many fucking ungrateful Americans, spoiled Americans that don't realize what they have. And you have people that are putting their lives on the line, you know, giving up absolutely everything to come to the United States. So it's really difficult for me to now, with my experiences overseas and these two Afghanistan missions, it's very hard for me to sit here and listen to people bitch about America is this horrible place and this and that. Like, fuck you, go to Afghanistan. Like, trade spots, do a 1-for-1 swap with these kids, man. Like, I felt there was quite a few people who didn't get accepted. They got accepted to like Argentina and Kosovo and a couple other European countries, but I mean, even that, they don't know anybody over there. Like they don't know what they're gonna do, and that fucked with me big time mentally. I remember the second part to that. You know, bad memories from the first mission that I did, and they were all coming back. I remember the end of that mission when they all left and the camp was over. You know, I just cried one night, man. Like after everything, the guys that were lost on that original mission, everything that I saw, you know, and everything like that that I had to put up with to now to seeing those two kids, it just broke my heart, man. It was a rough couple of days for me during that time period, but you know, yeah, I mean after that, like I said, I was a late deployer. By that time I got there, we had, I want to say, like 4 months, 4 or 5 months, something like that, of deployment time left. So it was basically at the tail end. Went to JMRC over there in Germany. That was fun. Um, Funny thing about JMRC, went in there. It was badass, man. Air assaulted in. Pretty cool experience to finally be with the 101st right Air Assault Unit. Dual tube nods down, face paint, all this good stuff. Air assaulting in, you run off to the Chinook, freaking wind is picking up, dust is picking up. Cool ass experience, man. Um, Long story short, I ended up tearing my hamstring for my second time on my right leg and go down, end up having to be sked code out of there. And I remember looking up from the sked code, I'll never forget, because obviously we're out there, just the platoon, just the guys. They sked code me, and I remember like just being like this, and I look at one of my boys, Frizz. Shout out Frizz, man. I remember looking up at him. He's not having a good time. Just imagine, you know, I think the minimum that guys were, you know, humping on their back was 80 pounds. So imagine that. Plus, you're dragging me. It was. I felt really bad for those guys, man, and yeah, it was weird. I wanted to crack a joke to Frizz, but if you know Frizz, he's not the guy to crack a joke to, especially when he's in a so uncomfortable position like that. But yeah, shout out Frizz, man. I miss that dude. But yeah, man, get done with JMRC. It's time to go back to the States, come back to the States. I was so at this time, like Fort Campbell had like a barracks kind of crisis situation going on. So we got told that we could leave our stuff in the barracks room that we were in and we could come back to it. Well, they pulled that. Division pulled that because we had so many people coming to Campbell that they sent the barracks guys back and we were going to move to another set of barracks. So I got to come home early for that. I was about a month essentially, or a couple of weeks, let's say a couple of weeks on Rear D, doing that, kind of relaxing, unwinding, and guys come back, reverse SRP, typical redeployment stuff, take leave, enjoy that post-deployment leave, and then, lo and behold, we get tasked with something else after we come back, which was the West Point cadet training. So I want to say, like, guys got back in December. We got told in February that we were going to go 4 or 5 months living in New York at this West Point cadet training. Obviously, guys are pissed, man, and I understand how it feels, right? Coming from a dude that did something like that previously, as far as mission wise. I get it. Dudes were pissed. So once again, it's time to lock in. That's what we did, getting ready to West Point, connexes, packing list, gear, inventory, all that good stuff. Make it down to West Point. I believe I went May 6th. Yeah, that sounds about right. May 6th, took that bus drive down, or up to New York, rather. Went there. And shitty living conditions. As you know, if you've ever been to Camp Natural Bridge, just shitty, man. You can smell the mold in there. A lot of guys were getting sick. Bad spot to be in. It's summertime, New York. It's humid as fuck. It's hot as fuck. Whatever. My platoon was doing land nav. So we're out there. We essentially went to the field. So we would teach cadets land nav. They would do their own like course, land nav course. And there was really no point of coming back to the barracks because we were just going to have to come back early the next morning, right? So we just stayed out, I think it was like 10 days or something like that. 10 days, 2 weeks that we were out there, just spending out there with those cadets. They were cool. I will tell you that there is a huge disconnect between West Point cadets and what their expectation is compared to how it actually is in the military. Just having conversations with those guys. And that's that's not me bashing them. That's just what it is, right? It's two different categories of, military, right? And, but a lot of them were cool. A lot of those cadets were cool. I'll tell you guys a story. I'm pretty sure they're gonna watch this. By when I say this, they're gonna know exactly who that I'm talking about them when I tell you this story. But long story short, obviously I'm around hundreds of cadets, and the rule was you will not have a relationship with these cadets. You will not get their number. That is off limits. Cool, whatever, got you. Send it. And I sent it. Long story short, ended up getting a girl's number there, and one of the cadets didn't like that. So after I am done walking them to the start point, or main camp is at, or whatever, the squad leader of the cadet squad that I had came up to me and goes, "Hey man, can I talk to you?" Real cool guy, man. Really cool guy. He pulled me aside. He goes, "Hey man, hey, like I don't give a fuck that you got one of the cadets' numbers, but like some people didn't like that. They said it was very unprofessional of you and stuff like that." I was all right. I'll talk to them. And I go around this Connex, and it's like fucking six dudes and a girl. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, oh, okay. Like, you guys think this is unprofessional, but I know exactly, like, what is jealousy, whatever you want to call it, whatever. Went up there, and I was like, I understand there's something you guys want to talk to me about. And one of the guys was like, you know, it is my obligation to tell on you, and report you for getting, a cadet's number and this and that. And, whatever he said. I'll never forget, man. He's like, I lost respect for you as a soldier. And I'm thinking in my head, like, dude, like, first of all, tough shit. All right. But second of all, who gives a fuck? Like, honestly, yes, I get it. It's a rule. You're not supposed to do it. But hey, like, it fucking happens. It is what it is. But you're going to be the guy to essentially snitch me out. And I'll never forget. I'm like, all right, thinking in my head, well, I don't want them to say anything. Let me game plan this. I already knew what was going to happen before I came up to talk to them. Went up to my boy, Joel, man. Shout out, little Marty. Good fucking dude. That dude's a brother to me now. I was like, hey, man, I got this girl's number. They're going to snitch on me. I'm gonna send you her number. Keep it for me and then send it back to me, because what I'm going to do is go up to them, show them the number, and then delete it. But it's not really deleted because you have it. He goes, yeah, man, I got you. So I was like, look, man, I was like, told the cadet, I'll squash this now, man. Hey, you're right. It was not even that. He told me he thought different of me as a man, not just as a soldier, but a man. He thought less of me as a man, which kind of gay, but whatever. But yeah, I went up to him. I was like, look, man, hey, very unprofessional of me. I get what you're saying. My bad. It was a mistake. Here's here's her number. I'll delete it right now in front of you if we squash this right now. And he did. He didn't say anything, but yeah, man, that was a funny story. I was just like, it was really weird because a lot of the cadets had a problem with how I said things, or how I taught them. And cadets would ask me a question, hey, how was the army? Or what do you think of West Point officers? And I would tell them straight up, like, look, I think you guys are totally disconnected from the reality of the military. Some, not all. And what they would do, they would spin that and say, oh, he said West Point officers are bad. They actually reported me to one of the majors, like whoever was in charge, and then she got back to my command. So every time they would ask me questions, my platoon sergeant would be around. Well, he vouched for me because, hey, like, they're purposely like baiting him. Some of them were baiting me into saying some things, but I mean, I didn't give a fuck. I'm gonna say how it is, like I do on TikTok. But yeah, man, West Point was cool. Something different. Met a lot of people over there. History wise, I'm a big history guy, so it's cool to actually walk through West Point and see some pretty cool stuff. Went out to New York City, had a 4-day weekend in New York City, drinking in front of the Empire State Building, rooftop bars, trying all the different foods. So even though it sucked, and we just got him back from a deployment, I would do it all over again, man. It was really fun. Obviously, you're with the boys. That is one thing that has gotten me through every single thing that I have been through, were the boys. So it wasn't all that bad. I'm glad I got to experience that and actually get to say, hey, I've been to West Point. Hey, I did this. Or hey, because of this, I got the opportunity to go to my first time in New York City. So yeah, man, it was cool. And we're kind of at this point, it's the tail end of my career. My time's almost done. We get back from West Point, and this is where TikTok really kind of blew up for me. Even though I have uh, a little bit of a platform. I don't want to say a big platform, because you have guys that are just so much more followers and likes and views than me. So I'm kind of whatever about it. But this is where me and my command start to feud over a video. And stuff like that, man. Like for those of you guys watching the 25-mile ruck march video that I did, for example, so my unit likes to do 25-mile ruck marches for whatever fucking reason. Tactically, I think it's fucking useless, especially if you think we're going to be doing this in Ukraine, like the reasoning was for the start of those 25-mile ruck marches. And my thought process was, I already had a friend killed over there. I know a lot of people over there. I kind of know what's going on, what's on ground based off of them. We're going to get fucking droned, especially in mass formations, let alone a battalion mass formation simulating us walking into Ukraine. Like, we're going to get shredded. And I did a video on that. And of course, nobody, I don't want to say nobody, but a few select people decided, well, I don't give a fuck what he says. His mustache is out of regs. And that's where the mustache army guy, name came into play. And I got a letter of concern for that. And, I pretty much got bashed for my CO saying, I was very disrespectful towards the 101 and, but they weren't understanding what I was saying. And, to this day, I will sit here and tell you I'm right. I feel with me on TikTok and the videos that I've made regarding the 101st, I will sit here and tell you that the 101st is living in the past and they're living off tradition and what was and what they've done before, and because of that, if you notice with this past feud with Iran, guess who got called to go to the Central Command area, wherever they went? 82nd Airborne. And for me personally, it sucks to see that because I know the guys at the 101 and I see what they're capable of and I see what they can be capable of. However, I think that is at a much higher level as to why 101 is never called than just the company and battalion and even brigade level, right? If you notice with 82nd, they always have a brigade ready to go at all times. Meanwhile, it takes the 101st Airborne, at least, my battalion I can only speak on, it takes them months to get the unit through SRP. At Fort Bliss, it took us a week to get through the entire brigade. There is no, make updates or you're not going to go. No, you will show up for SRP and you are going to get this done so we can be ready and have those numbers ready to go. And I can confidently say I don't think 82nd infantry wise is better than 101st. They're just not. I will die on that hill forever. I think they are only get called on because that division level is so on point and that brigade level is so on point where they have those numbers ready to go. That's the only difference between 101 and 82nd. But, that's a whole nother topic. And no, not bashing 82nd. Great guys there. And I know a lot of guys over there and stuff like that. Great organization. I just think they have a better, higher command than the 101st. But yeah, I continued to make TikToks, and a lot of people didn't like that. And it essentially put a dirty mark on my career. And this is where I go into, people only thought of me as the TikTok guy. So when promotion time came around, I always got passed up. And I'm not gonna lie, I've asked some NCOs like, hey, why do you think I'm getting passed up? And they would tell me, your fucking videos, man, it's your videos. And that is one thing I did not like because I knew I brought a level of experience and credentials where I knew what I was talking about. And I knew I could be an effective leader. And for the little time that I believe I was. I truly believe I was. But because of TikTok, I didn't get promoted or always got, thrown on the shitty details or overlooked or whatever it may have been, whatever. But at this time, I'm kind of debating on well, I have a few months left on my contract. Do I want to stay in? And at this time, I didn't know because, listen, I had a lot of hard times in the military, and I disagreed with a lot, but I loved it. Like, I really loved the military. There were just certain things that we needed to fix, right? That I wanted to fix, that I wanted to be a part of. For example, better training. Why are we doing this BS ass training, right? We could do this and we could do that. Why aren't we air assaulting, right? I know guys that were at Campbell 3, 4 years never air assaulted their entire time at Campbell. Fort Bliss air assaults more than the 101st Airborne Division. That is crazy to me. Why are we sitting around the cough all day? And true story, I asked leaders like, hey, we're sitting around. Can I take these guys outside to go train? Can I pull out rifles and can we go do BD6 in the barracks? Oh, no, no. We got to stay here. Like, what, dude? What the fuck are you talking about? Stay here, man. Like, what are we doing here as an organization to get better instead of this bullshit ass training or, hey, sit here all day just because, right? And I feel like the problem with a lot of leaders is they're too afraid to ask questions. And that really, really bugs me because then I look at you as a pussy. And I was always that guy asking questions. Hey, can we do this? Can we do that? And unfortunately, 95% of the stuff I asked for never happened. But yeah, man. TikTok for me really got bad in September when I made 2 videos regarding another social media um, TikTok person who just so happened to be in the military. Right? I'm not gonna name that person because he doesn't deserve any more attention. Right? Especially on a new platform. But yeah, I called him out for some stuff that he was doing that was unacceptable, and he thought he could get away with it because he was whatever rank that he was, and that backfired on me. And this is where really essentially my time in the army was done, and they barred me from reenlistment for that. And honestly, the bar from reenlistment didn't even really matter. So I don't know if they have it now, but the 90-day reenlistment window thing that they had. So if you're within 90 days of reenlistment, like, you can't reenlist, right? So that bar was done, and I was already within those 90 days. So it didn't even matter that they were barring me. I was gonna have to get out regardless. And man, that was really disappointing for me to see that my leadership took that stance because how shady that situation was. Um, there was a lot of backdoor conversations, whether it's with that person that I'm referring to or his higher leadership that took place. And there was a lot of lies that were told to me. There was lies on the sworn statement. You could see, First Sergeant story change and CO story change and them, switching stories and stuff like that. And yeah, man, they ended up doing that to me. They tried to bar me permanently, so meaning I could never come back into the service whatsoever, which I think was total bullshit. But yeah, I think that was really my sign to get out. And I hate saying that because I love the army. Like, I loved what it offered me and what it did for me, and stuff like that. But yeah, it was disappointing to see that essentially leadership like stabbed me in the back because they were fucking pussies, right? But that situation's over, and we're here now, and I feel great, man. I feel great being a civilian. The transitioning for me, I tend to have delayed reactions to certain things. So I think up until a couple of weeks ago, I was having a hard time with the adjustment and stuff like that, all the personal problems that I had. But you know, it, it's it's going to be for every veteran. It's going to be a thing. It just really depends on how you handle things. So yeah, man, that's a glimpse of my career and who I am and how I think and what I've been through or anything like that. Funny stories, sad stories, crazy stories. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But before we go ahead and end this, just a recap on how TikTok even started for me. So if you noticed back here, I have a picture of me and my best friend Cedric Ham. And for those of you that know on TikTok, Cedric Ham was my best friend at Bliss, man. Big brother to me. He unfortunately was killed March 14th of 2024 in Ukraine while doing some operations over there with the one of the Legion groups. And he actually had a TikTok account, and he did a video on his deployment that he did to Afghanistan. I want to say he deployed in like 17 or something like that. Went to Afghanistan, made a deployment video. And I was like, oh shit, like that's pretty cool. He showed me the video, like, I got TikTok, but I don't make videos. Like, I think that'd be really cool. I got a lot of deployment videos. Because, yeah, dude, make it. Ended up making it. And it just so happened to go viral. That video got, I think, like almost 500,000 views. I think that video has like 50,000 likes. And so that's how it started. I started to make like, okay, videos here and there, whatever. And then it turned into, okay, well, this is actually pretty cool. I could see myself doing these little funny videos. And then it turned into what it was now, or what it used to be, I guess I can say now that I'm out, just one-on-one conversations like we are now. So yeah, man, if it wasn't for Ham, showing me that TikTok, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. But yeah, man, got his own little corner there, got own little Texas corner, and actually a story about why this grenade is here. Fake, of course. So the story on Cedric Ham and how he died, how he got killed. He got shot in the leg, femoral artery, severed it completely. Just an animal, man. I actually got to talk to the medic that worked on him over there in Ukraine. He told me, he goes, dude, he got shot, continued to fight for 16 to 18 hours more. I forget which one it is, 16 hours more, pulling security, helping his guys, refused pain medicine. He ended up killing 6 to 8 Russians at that time while he was already, shot, and they had to break contact. I don't want to go too depth into that mission, but they were in a really, really bad spot, and they had to break contact. Completely outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned, outdroned. So they hid his body in a culvert, like one of those like kind of sewer runoff things, and they gave him a grenade. And obviously, if you guys know where I'm going with this, they gave him a grenade so Russians wouldn't take him alive, or if they got close enough, not only would it take him out, but it would take them out also. So yeah, man, just a fucking animal that dude was, man. Cedric was, and it's crazy to say now, but if I had to imagine how he was gonna get killed and die, that's how he was supposed to go out. Dude, that dude had another love for being an infantryman and a gunfighter like no other, man. Absolute beast. But also he was a teddy bear, man. He was the most jolly, happy guy that I've ever seen. I never really saw him. I never saw him mad. I never saw him startled. He was always calm, cool, like super chill guy, but also like one of the most like intense infantrymen, you know, dudes that I've seen. And it's just funny because I'm gonna go in his contact right now. What I have for his, still have his number, obviously. Let's see, for his contact pick that I have for him. So it's actually, if you guys can see that, the dinosaur from Toy Story. Obviously, if you guys have seen the movie, like a really like a gentle giant that dinosaur is, and that's what Cedric Cam was. Yeah, man, I that was another thing that I really didn't go into because I kind of talked about it a lot, but yeah, him getting killed, and it's fucked up because March 14th of 2022, a good friend of mine, Grayson Simons, unfortunately got killed in a range accident, March 14th. So 2 years later, I was at a bar, Tilted Kilt, off Wilma Rudolph in Clarksville. I was there having a couple drinks for him, nothing crazy, not knowing while I was having these drinks, Cedric on the other side of the world was fighting for his life and for his team. And nobody knew he got killed. Nobody knew about that mission until early April. Um, and dude, the again delayed reaction, but I remember getting the news that he got killed, and I was at my boy's house, and I remember just getting the message and the call, and I sat back, and my boy looks at me, he's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Fuck, dude, my boy just got killed." Told him, the gifs of what I knew. I was like, "Dude, I need to go to bed." And it didn't hit me, and obviously I'm trying to find out more information and exactly what happened. And I want to say about 2 weeks later, man, that's when it hit me. That's when the realization of he's not coming back and he's dead, he's gone, set in, man. And that was a horrible time, having nightmares, having dreams about him, waking up crying. I remember we were doing inventory inside the armed room, me, my PL, and the armor, obviously. And it was just so on my mind that I was reading off these serial numbers to the PL, and you could hear my voice, like I started to choke up, and I told him, "Hey, sir, I'll be back in a second." Ran to my car, I started crying. The dreams were bad, man. The dreams were really bad. I remember one dream where I ran up to him, and it was like him, but he was in high school. It's like I went back in time, and I remember grabbing him by the shoulders. I was like, "Look, man, it's gonna sound crazy. Like I'm from the future. Like, look, man, your name is Cedric Ham. You graduate high school. You join the army. You go to Afghanistan. We meet each other. Then after that, you get out the army and you go to Ukraine." And I remember saying, and then I stopped. And in the dream, I was crying. And what I was gonna say fully was, and then you die in Ukraine. And I woke up, dude. I just fucking crying, man. That was everybody that I knew that got killed or by suicide. Everyone's different, and this one hurt me in a different way that I didn't think it could hurt me, and it still does, man. It still hurts to this day, but it gives me confidence as a guy like that. And if you know Cedric Ham, he wasn't afraid of dying. Obviously he took out 6 to 8 Russians before they got him. I think when he died, I truly believe in my heart that he was all right. Fuck it, they got me. It is what it is. It's time to die. I did my job. He had that attitude, and if you knew him, you can vouch for that. Just a great guy, man. So he's got his own little Texas corner back there. So yeah, miss that fucking miss that guy every day. But alrighty, guys, I think that's it's a good place to stop. A good place to um, in the first episode. You guys got a good talking of who I am. Kind of the guy behind the video camera, or the iPhone or whatever I was recording on at the time, as to who I am. Like I said, I'm Fabian Solis. I'm no longer the mustache army guy, the cool specialist. No longer that. I'm really excited about the next adventure, and I'm really excited for you guys to tag along, man. Like I said, you guys have gave me the confidence of, hey, maybe I can do this podcast stuff. Maybe I can transition into this new realm of social media, right? So I'm really excited about it, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. I got some really cool guests that I find very interesting to come on this show, and I'm all ears, man. Please give me feedback on this episode of what you wanted to hear, what I could have gone more in depth in, whether you have technical feedback or anything like that. I'm absolutely all ears for it. Audio, camera settings, anything like that. Like I said, I'm pretty open about feedback. So once again, guys, appreciate you guys joining me, talking with me, talking shit, telling funny stories, sad stories, whatever it may have been. So I'll see you guys next time.